Okay. So what I'm doing here is I'm designing my play board. Essentially a board to play card games on. And I already know that I'm messed up because it needs to be rotated so that it's longer width-wise and height-wise. But I already have an idea for what I want. Excuse me. This board mat to look like. I want there to be essentially a guy right there. And he's sort of floating in the sky or in the air. And he has a tablet that he has in his hand, or rather floating, because he's using magic. Yay! And I think what I'm going to do digitally is get this idea across. And then I'll work on it in real life to determine dimensions and so on and so forth. So right now I'm working with basic shapes and forms. And I don't know if I'm going to have his legs in the picture or not. And his butt. His knee. And his actual head rather than that weird circle situation. And boom. Adding more definition to the arm. Excuse me. Rounding out the vision of his bodily output. Now, notes that I'm noticing about this composition of board is, what is the background going to be? What is his clothes going to be? Do I want the other leg to show? How do I want the other leg, the other foot to show? What kind of clothing is he going to be wearing? These are all things I'm thinking about, like, as I'm doing the step, and if I want him to be like this. Like, for example, because I have this arm being so existent, it doesn't allow me to play with what I could have him wearing. So instead of having him use that arm to hold open the book, what I'm actually going to do is have this arm out, because I want this picture to essentially have an energy of dominance, and the fact he's floating is good enough. But I think I should have him more as if he's lying down on a throne. Like, the reason he's so relaxed is because he's in a floating throne. And he has the power to float above it. I think that's the most wicked thing I can do with this picture right now. He's on a throne, and he's not even on it, he's literally floating above it. And I'm just fleshing out the forms that I want to see in the picture. And because this is a Magic the Gathering picture, I'm actually gonna have him snapping. I'm gonna need to use a reference once I get to that step, because I haven't snapped in a long time, and I can't really picture that in my head right now. And when I get down to the detail page, I can determine how I want his hand to look. He could be doing some kind of gaudy pose with it, but for now I'm really liking how this is turning out because it's giving me the reality of what I want his body to look like. I kind of really like how he's standing right now, but I'm going to tone down the image. That way I can have more fun with the composition of the piece. Because if I had it at the state that it was right now, I mean, like 2 seconds ago, I wouldn't have been able to play with the surrounding throne. And let's say the throne is high class and gaudy. And you see that he's floating above it. And I think what will be a neat little effect is even though he has a tomb or a scroll or tablet that he's investigating or reading, and it will be highly detailed from both ends, and it'll just have a casual thumb on it. You'll see like a magical streak that goes from one color to the next, signifying like he's actually legit strong. And it'll go from fire to water to earth to darkness and then to colorless, clear mist. And he'll be smirking at you. Excuse me, as if he's looking at you like, oh, hello there. So I'm already filling out that idea in that form. If I look at some of the other Planeswalker cards, damn, I'll get a better idea for how I want his true composition to look. But for now, I enjoy the idea of a floating Planeswalker. Like, his abilities are helping me design how I want him to look. But he's essentially a manipulator of existence. He doesn't really do damage per se, but he manipulates like creatures probably and instants and spells and sorceries. He probably can bring something out of existence and then bring something back into existence if need be. And then his ultimate would probably be everything that he's touched comes into play. So at this point, what I'm going to do is investigate some of the current Planeswalker art and see how I want the composition to change based off of that alone. I know he's going to be African American based because I like drawing African Americans and I need to draw more of them. And so I'm going to determine what his armor is going to look like, because he's going to be probably heavily armored with all 5 colors in it. And then I'll also determine like if he's gonna be in a gaudy throne, or if it's gonna be like people in the background, like just standing there as if they're his constructs, or if it's gonna be like tapestry and drape, and you see all 5 of the symbols, the mana symbols on it. But these are all things that I'm thinking about in the very first step, because I think that's very important for me as an artist, because I work better when I know how I'm thinking about the process as a whole. So I'll be back in like 2 minutes to go over that. Okay, after doing a little bit of research, it has come to my attention that Planeswalker cards do not show the legs as much. They are mostly like the upper portions of the body. So in the original drawing, I had it more blown up. And I think that's what it's going to be. It's going to be essentially the front part. You'll see a really good close-up of his face and his surrounding body. So let me go ahead and put this a little bit closer. Because if this was a game mat, I want it to be like this. So I think I actually might have him be a little bit less blown out. Because I want to have some kind of magical effect be seen as he's looking you in the eye. With all the planeswalkers, I did notice that you could see their head portions. Like you got to see like the top of their head. But like I said, the hips and below were usually taken out. So his foot could be unseen. But he still needs to have his head and probably a little bit of it reviewed. So now that I have that research done, what I'm going to do is change the body a little bit. So either I can have the arm being down, or I could have his hand be a little bit more straight. And like I said, that magical effect just be a feather. What I could have his effect look like is the magic cards in tarot form and have it wave out from his existence. So he's like a tarot card, tarot, whatever it is, like that one summoner class from like Digimon. Not Digimon, that's from something else. But have you see like the other colors that he uses on these cards that is flickering out from his existence. And oh my gosh, I just got a great idea. Okay, I know what I'm gonna do. So you know how when you're doing magic magic tricks and you see the person with the deck and they're shuffling and like the cards are being flipped out from one hand to the other, that's how I'm going to portray his ability. It's to say, because like I said earlier, it's the ability to alter existence. So you see like the cards are essentially normal playing cards, and as he's doing whatever he's doing, you see that they're becoming like little vessels of energy, or little see-through, not translucent, but they're becoming the actual ability. So now that I have that idea, I just gotta plan how I'm gonna have him use this arm. Oh, I know. Oh man, I feel so inspired. So you're gonna see this arm come out towards you, and then this hand finger is gonna be armored as well. And you're gonna see the thumb go down like that. And then a little bit of that finger right there, doing that as the cards are coming, just like that. And then he's gonna have armor that really accentuates his played all nature. He's gonna have a bigger torso. And you're gonna see in the background probably a very basic one, but I'm gonna now go over this idea a little bit more in depth. I'm gonna turn this down. I already have the basic shapes I want, so now all I'm gonna do is go back over the idea to see how I like it when I solidify it a little. Nothing too crazy, no real in-depth shading or anything, but seeing if I can get behind this idea of this weird arm placement that I want him to have. Because not only does he bend his reality, but he bends apparently his proportions. I don't know what this commercial is about, but there's a big dude dancing. Oh, it's a star. It's a energy drink commercial, of course. And then this arm is to the back. I'm doing the same thing, more subtly. I think that's exactly what I want. I'm gonna probably make it so that they aren't so close together. But you'll see this. See his knee. Sweetie. And you see, like, already his shape is already dealt with. And he's not going to be bald. He's going to have a neat little haircut. Almost looks like he's wearing mascara. Just fucking none of that. Okay. So I have the idea down. And I have his costume almost. It's gonna definitely have floating pieces. And I think he might have a crown. But all that's gonna be done at the actual design state. I could make him have wings. But that's all things that I'm doing as I'm making this planeswalker idea. And you see that it took barely 20 minutes to come up with this idea. But I already have him ideally almost fleshed out in how I want him to appear to the audience. And now it's just a matter of saying, like, okay, how do I want this card to lay out? What kind of reference picture do I need to be working with? How obvious do I want his foot to be there? And then after I finish drawing this out, I can start saying, like, okay, what do I want on this mat? And how am I going to actually put that mat in existence? Like, am I going to go online, or am I just going to draw it on a white one? But I hope you enjoy this video. And this has been Cuckoo Ovoy. Cuckoo Ovoy. No. This has been Cuckoo Omoy, and I hope you learned something from this and have an awesome day. Peace.